During the generations of Adam, it seemed to many that Enoch was 65 years older than God, when in fact we know that God is the firstborn. Therefore, in these times, Haile Selassie I is looked at by many as being dead. So let's watch what people have to say in Ethiopia.
Say it again, you don't believe Haile Selassie is buried here?
Because we don't believe Haile Selassie buried here. The reason is when they found the body under the toilet from his former palace, they measured the body. So this body was 170 centimeters, but the height of Haile Selassie was 165. Yeah, and at that time, the communist leader, Prime Minister Mengistu, he sent him to Dredawa with Volkswagen car, and the people told us when he get to Dredawa at that time, 1,000 people gathered and welcomed him, and
he told me, he said he saw him, he was very old, but he looked very good for his age, and the man was one of Mussolini's soldiers. Yeah. He told me he saw him now in the late 90s.
Yeah. And if you go to like in UK, maybe if you get the chance, you can visit museum in London. Yeah. So still you can see Haile Selassie's uniform. When he went to Dredawa, he used to use that uniform. Nowadays, his uniform located in UK Museum.
Right. And in Bristol,
where he stayed. They would bury him with his uniform, with his clothes.
They don't have his ring. The Solomonic ring?
The Solomonic ring, we believe.
Hello. So let's watch the story of Enoch. And Enoch lived 65 years and begot Methuselah. And Enoch walked with God, and he begot Methuselah 300 years and begot sons and daughters. And all the day of Enoch was 365 years. In other words, when Enoch was 65, it appeared to many that he was the father of Methuselah, when in fact he was walking with God himself. And God is definitely the firstborn. And God told you over 1,600 years ago that Persia, Ethiopia, and Libya will join up as one. So today is happening with Brics. So let's watch what else is happening in these times.
Well, here's John Calvin, and this is what he had to say. We will see some who are so deranged, not only in religion, but who in all things reveal their monstrous nature, that they will say that the sun does not move, and that it is the earth which shifts and turns. Referring to Copernicus, of course, the Jesuit, because he was a Protestant. When we see such minds, we must indeed confess that the devil possesses them. The Satanists, the globalists with all their globalist agendas are...
Pay attention to who they are, because if you control the money, you control the globe.
Strengthened, the independent countries can no longer indemnify the United States for its unsound financial policies or its failure to combat systemic corruption in its financial sector. The world today faces numerous challenges, including food security, climate change, debt crises, the North-South divide, to name a few. Addressing these issues, which have disproportionately exposed the developing countries and the global south to tension and harm, must go through the active participation of these nations.
In other words, they're joining up to be a new world order. Hello.
Meanwhile, the US dollar accounts for nearly 60% of global foreign exchange reserves and is involved in about 88% of all currency transactions. The adoption of the Brics payment system by 159 countries could have...
including Libya, as mentioned in Ezekiel 38. So Libya's BRIC membership could boost economic prospects. The Libyan investment minister designate has stated that joining BRICS could unlock significant economic opportunities for Libya. In other words, they're going to join up. So let's watch what it says in the Apocrypha, which was not within the KJV version. A sword came out of the mountains of the north. He came with 10,000 of his army, the multitude whereof stopped the torrents, and their horsemen have covered the hills. So who are they? 2 great dragons came forth ready to fight, and their cry was great, to battle that they might fight against the righteous people, and the whole righteous nation was troubled. But what's going to happen? But we find that the Jews are no evildoers, but live by most just laws. And they that be children of the Most High and Most Mighty Living God, that's at the end of times. Wherefore you shall do well not to put in the execution the levers sent unto you by Aman, the son of Amadatha. For he that was the worker of these things is hanged at the gates of Susa, with all his family. God who ruleth all things speedily rendering vengeance to him according to his deserts. Because at the end of time, Nebuchadnezzar wants to kill off everybody that down with God. So you notice China is a dragon. So this is a 16th century Ming dragon. Who else is a dragon? India and the Middle East. So where would you find the Middle East? Tiamat, a Mesopotamian goddess portrayed as a serpent or dragon. And that's what Persia follows or represents. So in other words, Persia is one of the dragons. In other words, pay attention.
Far-reaching consequences for international trade and economic relations. Potential impacts include reduced effectiveness of economic sanctions as a foreign policy tool, shifts in global trade patterns favoring Brics and partner nations, possible...
In other words, you join with Brics, you're going to end up ruling the world. But whatever, time ticking.
Everybody there. I mean, I rock them head, on them head, hit them head, bang them head. Anybody wanna come try to sign?